So in this video, we are going to talk about the Delhi Sultanate. We will start the lecture with the sources of information that how do we get to know about this Delhi Sultanate. Then we'll have a look on the important rulers of all these five dynasties who have ruled Delhi during this period. Now in the end, we will see the main features of this Delhi Sultanate, including the architecture during this period. Getting started with the sources of information, we have two types of sources, literary sources as well as archaeological sources. In the literary sources, we have two textbooks by Ziauddin Barni, who was a historian of Delhi Sultanate, Tarikh-e-Feroz Shahi and Fatwa-e-Jahandari. Apart from that, we also have a text named as Prithviraj Raso, which was authored by Chand Bardai. This is basically a story of Prithviraj Chauhan. This also gave us an important detail about Delhi Sultanate and its foundation. Apart from the literary sources, we have archaeological sources, which includes monuments and coins. It also includes inscriptions which are found on coins, monuments, milestones, tombstones, etc. Qutub Minar is, by the way, full of inscriptions. Many inscriptions are in Persian and Arabic, but strangely, some are in Sanskrit too, like Bakhtiyar Khilji was famous for issuing Sanskrit inscriptions. Then the monuments made by the sultans provide details of the living conditions, faiths, beliefs, and the level of science and technology which existed during the contemporary period. Now we will be having a look on the first dynasty, which is the slave dynasty, also known as the Mamluk dynasty. Here you can see the map of Delhi Sultanate during the zenith of slave dynasty during the period of Sultan Iltutmish. So the first Sultan was Qutbuddin Aibak. He was the founder of slave dynasty as well as the founder of Delhi Sultanate. He started his career as a favorite slave of Muhammad Ghori and then gradually he rose to become the general in army of Muhammad Ghori. Then after the second battle of Tarain, 1192, in which Muhammad Ghori defeated Prithviraj Chauhan and got the control of Delhi. So what Muhammad Ghori did, he made Qutbuddin Aibak as the viceroy of Delhi. Then after the death of Muhammad Ghori in 1206, Qutbuddin Aibak became the independent Sultan of Delhi, and in that way the Delhi Sultanate was founded. But he died unfortunately while playing polo in 1210 AD, so he had a very short ruling span. Now coming to the next ruler, Iltutmish was the next ruler, but after the death of Qutbuddin Aibak, his son Aram Shah became the ruler, but he was ineligible, he was incapable, less caliber person. So nobles replaced him with the Iltutmish. Iltutmish was son-in-law and he is supposed to be the real founder of Delhi Sultanate. He is very capable and he also negotiated with the Mongols to resist their attack on the Delhi. So in that way, he is also considered to be the saver of India. He completed the construction of Qutub Minar, which foundation was led by Qutbuddin Aibak. He introduced the Iqtidari system, which became the backbone of bureaucracy of Delhi Sultanate. Here you can see the portrait of Iltutmish. Razia Sultan was his daughter. And then after, many rulers came in the slave dynasty, but we are now going to move our attention towards the Khilji dynasty because we are only going to have a look on the important rulers, the impactful rulers. So the next one in the line was Alauddin Khilji. So this Khilji dynasty was started by Jalaluddin Khilji, but Alauddin Khilji was most impactful ruler. He became the Sultan after murdering Jalaluddin Khilji, and he is also credited to defeat the army of Mongols. This was, by the way, the biggest achievement of his life because the army of Mongols was not only the brutal army in the world, most brutal army in the world, but they were also undefeated most of the times. So after conquering almost whole of the North India and after defeating Mongols, he turned towards the South India. And here you can see the map of Khilji dynasty at its peak in the reign of Alauddin Khilji. So this basically is stretched from Central Asia, almost Central Asia, to Maharashtra. So his Deccan campaign included conquest of Devgiri, defeat of ruler of Warangal. He also defeated Hoysal ruler, as well as he also defeated Pandya kingdom in 1311. Now moving towards the Tughlaq dynasty, it was initiated by Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq in 1320. He was the founder of Tughlaq dynasty, but Muhammad bin Tughlaq was the most popular and most impactful ruler of Tughlaq dynasty. His initial years were busy in resisting revolts of the nobles. Then after he shifted his capital from Tughlaqabad, which is in modern Delhi, to Daulatabad, which is in modern Devgiri, Maharashtra. Delhi Sultanate reached its zenith during his reign. Here you can see the map during the reign of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. But his devastating policies led to the fragmentation of empire, and as a result of his devastating policies, two independent kingdoms emerged in the south, Bahmani Empire and Vijayanagara Empire. And Ibn Battuta, who was a traveler from Morocco, visited India during his reign. Now coming to the next ruler of Tughlaq dynasty, which was Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Firoz Shah Tughlaq was a very sensible ruler. He was the cousin of Muhammad bin Tughlaq and he decided to take a break from the inconsistent policies of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. He wanted to bring things back to normal and he's also known for his construction of canals, contribution in the field of agriculture. Then after Tughlaq dynasty went into decline and Timur, the invader, invades India in 1398 and basically devastated the whole Tughlaq dynasty. But just to let you know that this Tughlaq dynasty was the longest dynasty in the Delhi Sultanate to rule Delhi. Now coming to the next dynasty, which is Lodi. Yes, Sayyid dynasty was in between, but they were not that much impactful to be discussed. So we are here moving towards the Lodi dynasty, which ruled between 1451 to 1526. Bahlo Lodi was the founder. He was the founder of Lodi dynasty. He became ruler after deposing the last Sayyid ruler, Alam Shah, in 1451. Then Ibrahim Lodi was the last ruler. He was very proud and arrogant by nature. He did everything to humiliate the Afghan nobles, and because Afghan nobles threw his support, so he was deposed by Babur after First Battle of Panipat, after the defeat in First Battle of Panipat on the hands of Babur in 1526, and this laid the foundation of Mughal Empire in India. Here you can see the portrait of Ibrahim Lodi. Now coming to the main features of Delhi Sultanate, starting with the administration, the Delhi Sultans considered themselves as the deputy of Khalifa. They did not consider themselves a Badshah like the Mughal rulers did. So they considered themselves as the deputy of Caliph and they basically honored the order of Caliph. Mughal rulers did not care who the Caliph was. Now central government, the Sultan was supreme of state and he carried on his work with the help of chosen officials. Iqtidari system played a great role in the bureaucracy of Delhi Sultanate. Now coming to the justice, the Sultan was the final court of appeal and the chief lawmaker. This was also the case in Mughal Empire. Now coming to the police, the Kotwal headed the police department. The spies kept the Sultan informed of the activities and ordinary people. Now coming to the finance, so the Sultanate had two sources of income, religious income and the secular income. And in the secular income, one source of revenue was most crucial, that was land revenue, because it was the main source of revenue. When it comes to bureaucracy, it was managed through the Iqtidari system. Basically, this was a system to maintain bureaucracy which was introduced by Iltutmish. And on the lines of Iqtidari system, later on in the Vijayanagar Empire, Amar Naika system was also developed there. Now coming to the architecture, during the whole period of this 400-500 years, arc and dome method was heavily used. You can see Qutub Minar, construction of different kind of mosques. Almost all monuments has inscriptions inscribed on it, and that is why it is easier for us to figure out the details of emperors, figure out the details of sultans. Qutub Minar undoubtedly is the epitome of Sultanate architecture. Another famous monuments includes Firoz Shah Kotla, Tughlaqabad Fort in Delhi, Alai Minar in Delhi, adjacent to Qutub Minar only. So that's all in this chapter. Hope you have enjoyed the lecture. Thank you.